For example, this past couple of weeks, we had 41 people in this state of meditation out under the stars doing these amazing meditations and prayer for the earth and for universal peace, but also experiencing these amazing contact things. This has an effect not just on the people who were there, but on everyone on the planet on a level that is very subtle, but very, very profound in consciousness. And so that as more people begin to do this, it will shift the awareness away from fear and secrecy and darkness into light and openness and contact and transformation. And that's the time we're in, and this is the time that we have to sort of help give birth to, all of us together. And that's really what this project is really all about.
You know, remember the afternoon you did the puja, and then you made it a voluntary night. Some people chose to stay in and go to bed early, and we went out to the Lighthouse that night, and you were doing, and we didn't get out there till maybe 10 o'clock. It was pretty late, and so, and it was a little more than half the group that was out there with us, and you were doing a meditation, and during the meditation you were talking about enlightenment and light, and I opened my eyes and looked, and the way the Lighthouse is situated, it's on like a big grassy field. It's just an enormous, like, giant lawn, and the Lighthouse was kind of behind where I was sitting. And it's not that disruptive with its light because the light's up high and it goes off occasionally, and it's a real yellowish light. And then there's a sort of a wall of trees in the pretty much it was southwest area, I think. And I was facing it, and I opened my eyes during that meditation, and there was a brilliant silver white light shining from behind the trees. And it shouldn't have been there, and I was just astonished. And I was sitting right next to Dr. Greer, and I kind of looked over at him, and you know, he was leading a guided meditation, but I could see that he was watching it too, and it was interacting with the words you were saying, for one thing, and it was huge. I mean, it was a light that lit from like behind the trees, but not maybe all the way to the ground. Couldn't really see because of the trees, but it went way high up above the trees, and then it covered a distance towards the south. Was that south? I don't remember the direction.
Well, the whole sky for about 180 degrees from east to west and going upward almost to the zenith was being illumined by this light.
It was
one of the brightest light. It was like as if you were to see, you know, Manhattan in the fog in the distance or something. It was enormous, and it was this very strange silvery white light. It wasn't like the light of a man-made
which we've
object.
seen before in Joshua Tree. I mean, it totally reminded me of that silver light that we've seen in Joshua Tree from the ETs.
But it was very close, and it lasted
really
for several minutes. It got very, very bright, and then it dimmed down a little bit, but it remained and kind of moved towards the west over the period of the next few minutes. And of course, everyone saw this, and it appeared exactly at the point in the meditation where we were talking about this energy coming from space and transformational enlightenment going through the entire earth and through every man, woman, and child on the earth. And it was at that point in the meditation and prayer for the healing of the earth and the transformation of the planet that this enormous light appeared in the south. And it was beautiful. It was very beautiful, and of course, really kind of like many of these things. I know that it reminds me when we were in Joshua Tree a couple of years ago, we were at almost the exact same place in the meditation, and we were all sitting with our eyes closed, and suddenly about 15 feet above the circle, out in the middle of Joshua Tree National Park, a brilliant white light just burst forth. I mean, it was not out in space. It was literally just above the circle. And it was so bright that people who had their eyes closed could see the veins in their eyes. And it wasn't just light. It was an energy form that everyone who had been feeling tired and what have you, because it was late at night, felt suddenly highly energized. And it was like this transformational energy that was coming out of space that came and appeared. And then shortly after that, a sort of silvery white orb was hovering over the desert to the east of us down this path, in an area that's exactly where we saw this large ET craft go into the ground back in 1996, the first year that Linda and I went out to Joshua Tree National Park. And it came straight down and it went right into that area where that's where this then, but this light at the Outer Banks that appeared was a million times bigger than this other light.
Right.
And it enveloped the whole part of the sky and was really quite astonishing. It would have been like 1,000 lights of the lighthouse. You can imagine how bright these lighthouses are on the Outer Banks. Those of you who've ever been, it would have been at least 1,000 of those.
The lighthouse was nothing compared to it.
Yeah, and of course those lights are sort of like incandescent.
Yeah, they're yellow. The lighthouse light was yellow, and this was silvery white. It was incredible.
Yeah, and so these are the kinds of experiences that happen, but they happen, interestingly, when everyone's in a coherent state of consciousness and reach a certain level of that cosmic awareness and are doing something selfless in their meditation and prayer for the earth. That's when we find that these ET craft appear most profoundly, and they're very much looking for that in people.